Fox News alert. We were told Alex Pretti was just a peaceful nurse.
Oh, fantastic. Fox News kicking things off by smearing a dead nurse as some kind of secret agitator because nothing says fair and balanced, like digging up a video to imply Alex Pretti had it coming. Family confirms it's him? Sure. But does a boot to a taillight justify getting executed later? This is the kind of journalism that makes you wonder if they're reporting news or auditioning for a dystopian thriller where protesters are fair game.
At the wrong place at the wrong time, delivering first aid to an injured protester. Well, we just obtained new video, days before the shooting, of a man who appears to be Pretti being not so peaceful. The Pretti family attorney and family members confirmed to the Minnesota Star-Tribune that the person in the video is Pretti. CNN reported that Pretti had a broken rib from an altercation with federal agents a week before his death. CNN claimed Pretti was just driving around minding his own business when he saw ICE agents chasing an immigrant family down the street.
CNN claimed he was minding his business? Please. He saw ICE agents hounding what could have been innocent folks, hell, we don't even know, and stepped in. Got a broken rib for his trouble. But Fox twists it like he's the villain in a bad cop show. Yeah, because interrupting federal overreach is totally a capital offense. Infuriating how they gloss over the thuggish tactics that left him battered.
He went after them, jumped out of his car to help the family, then was tackled. Now, if this is the incident, it looks like CNN had bad sources. This video shows the individual with similar clothing and what looks and appears to be a handgun in the same place that it was at the time of the shooting, kicking the taillight out of a federal vehicle in the middle of an apprehension operation, and then violently resisting arrest. At one point, it even looks like he spits at the window of the ICE agent's vehicle.
The video shows kicking and resisting, stupid move granted, but does that erase his right to protest ICE's questionable chases? And spitting, classy, but not exactly grounds for a death warrant. Fox inflating this to retroactively justify a killing? It's like blaming the lamb for provoking the wolf. Pisses me off. These reporters are basically writing fan fiction for authoritarian overkill.
Homeland Security tells us the video's under investigation. This doesn't mean that his shooting a week later was justified. That's still under investigation.
Oh, how noble. Doesn't mean the shooting was justified. Then why pivot straight to painting ICE as the real victims? Pretti was disarmed, helping a shoved woman, filming the chaos, then pumped full of 10 bullets. Autopsy says head and chest shots on an unarmed man. This network's narrative? He's the bad guy. Guess in Fox's world, carrying a legal permit means you're armed for your own funeral.
But it does paint a different picture of who Pretti was and the kind of violent attacks that ICE and Border Patrol have to deal with while they're arresting criminal aliens. The same thing happened with Renee Good. The media tells us she was just a random woman stuck in traffic after dropping her kid off at school. But later we learned she was a trained ICE Watch warrior.
Renee Good, trained ICE Watch warrior out to cause trouble? She was a mom in traffic, shot fleeing overzealous agents. Video shows her backing up, then trying to drive away in panic. I don't blame her. Bang, dead. Fox calls it trouble. That's like saying a deer asked for the hunter's bullet. Outrageous victim blaming that makes my blood boil. How do they sleep at night peddling this garbage?
Out to cause trouble. Again, that doesn't mean she deserved to die. But the media is whipping people up with phony obituaries that don't tell the whole story. It's why Democrats running for office are flocking to Minneapolis for photo ops.
Democrats flocking for photo ops on holy ground?
In a real sense, this is holy ground. Consecrated by blood spilled.
Honoring victims like Floyd, Pretti, Good. Reverend Warnock's Jesus analogy might be a stretch
here. I had to be here to stand in the very place where this tragedy unfurled. Not only for Alex Pretti, but for Renee Good, for George Floyd.
Reverend Warnock just suggested Floyd and the two ICE watchers were like Jesus. It's a crime scene, not a cross, Reverend. Laken Riley was Warnock's constituent in Georgia. I never saw him broken up about her.
But Fox mocks grief while ignoring others like Laken Riley. Hypocrisy so thick you could cut it with a knife. Pissed? Absolutely. These pundits politicize blood while pretending to care.
but now he's flying to other states and crying. Tim Walz made an appearance at the memorial today. Watch.
We're just personally paying our respects,
Sure.
my wife and I.
And do you believe that there will be a shift in tone here from the administration after your conversation with the president here on the streets?
I'm not so interested in a shift of tone. We just need them out of here, and we need accountability for what's happened.
Walz paying respects, Fox dismisses it as opportunism.
Walz is speaking out of both sides of his mouth. On the phone with Trump, he says he's going to work with ICE as long as Bovino leaves and cooperate and hand over the bad guys. Then he hits the streets and tells the press ICE has got to go.
Speaking out of both sides, Walz demands accountability publicly, cooperates privately after killings. Sensible, but Fox calls it flip-flopping. Meanwhile, Trump's Greenland fiasco and endless U-turns? Crickets. This double standard is enraging, like watching a clown and his circus lecture on dignity.
Yesterday, the mob stormed into the Capitol building and hollered at his office. Why? Oh, because they said Tim's a traitor for doing business with Trump and Homan.
Tom Homan's a professional, which is a lot more than Bovino and Christy Nome. Tom Homan landed last night, and he called me last night and asked if he could have a meeting, and he was there at 9 o'clock. So, look, I think that's progress, but they started this fire, so we're not giving anybody credit for putting it out.
Progress with Homan? Walz under probe, but evidence points to program flaws, not his pockets. Fox speculates pardons like it's a soap opera. Infuriating fiction.
Walz keeps changing his tune depending on who he's talking to because he's under investigation by the Department of Justice.
And don't forget, Trump and Fox News says he is like a cartel leader, but honestly, the guy's got less money in the bank than your average middle-class worker and no house. Hardly El Chapo the boss of a fraud baron stealing billions. Investigations smell like political witch hunts. Yeah, because a broke governor is obviously the mastermind behind the Somali scams. Obviously.
One case for obstructing federal law enforcement, another for Somali fraud.
Progress with Homan? Walz under probe, but evidence points to program flaws, not his pockets. Fox speculates pardons like it's a soap opera. Infuriating fiction.
Walz needed to broker an ICE peace deal with Trump. PBD was on primetime last night. Watch this.
I think he's also trying to make sure he's protected long term. I don't know what happens on these calls. I would only say I don't know what he's going to ask for. You know, wink, wink. Hey, if I work with you on this, can I get a pardon? I don't know what the guy's going to be asking the president. You know, these guys have a lot of audacity.
Wild guesses on calls, pardon begging, baseless. Walz fundraising for defense amid trumped-up charges, logical for a guy with zilch. Maybe Fox thinks he's got a secret vault like Scrooge McDuck.
Look at Walz today, sending out fundraising messages, asking for money so he can hire lawyers. The email says, if you're with me, please rush a donation. Walz is going to have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars defending himself in the Somali fraud case, and he's broke. Just in 2024, he disclosed he only has between $15,000 and $50,000.
Finances laid bare, peanuts in savings, no home. Comparing to Hunter Biden, apples to hand grenades. Fox ignores the transparency while spinning yarns.
In cash and in savings. It's going to cost at least 50 G's for the retainer. These guys charge $1,000 to $2,000 an hour to fight federal charges. Hunter Biden spent between $5 and $10 million on lawyers, or his sugar daddy did.
Sugar daddy, juvenile jab. Fraud probes hit 98 folks, mostly Somali. Walz ignored whistles, mixed evidence at best. This smear campaign reeks.
Does Walz have a sugar daddy? I don't think so. And Walz can't take a line of credit out on his house because he doesn't own one. In federal investigations like this, prosecutors are going to get targets to flip and name big names. Omar, Keith Ellison, Walz, he's the biggest. We already know he blew off whistleblowers, and his staff was caught doctoring documents in a cover-up, while millions of dollars are flying out of the Minneapolis airport. Maybe some money winds up in the hands of terrorists.
Terror links? Loose speculation. Probes show indirect ties at most. Walz risking everything, fear-mongering to distract from ICE's body count.
Walz could lose everything if he's found guilty. Of course, he's going to hand over the bad hombres. That's what any rational person would do in his position. But But Trump prosecutors aren't done. Just last night, Homeland Security took down 16 ICE rioters.
Arresting 16 hardcore protesters, including Somalis. Fox mocks cultural quirks, bananas and rice, borderline racist, and it makes me mad how they dehumanize.
Pam Bondi flew into town, and she says she's about to bring a boatload of cases. These aren't your run-of-the-mill, salt-of-the-earth, peace and love protesters. These guys are hardcore. The women are gnarly.
More on gnarly women and arrests, protests born from murders, but Fox paints them as villains. Twisted priorities.
Even Somalis. This is Nasra Ahmed. We don't really know what she does or who she is, but Minnesota Democrats brought her out and let her tell her story last week. Listen.
To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know, people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice.
We're not really sure what that means, but she was just arrested for assaulting federal cops. The whole thing's gotten kind of weird in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis weird? Understatement after federal sanctioned shootings.
Last night, Omar held a town hall and someone stood up and squirted her with some liquid.
I don't know.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. He sprayed something on her.
Now, thank God that wasn't some sort of chemical agent. She could have been seriously hurt. CNN confirmed that it was just a little apple cider vinegar.
Omar sprayed with vinegar. Real attack. Confirmed. Trump floats inside job. Conspiracy crap that endangers critics. Sarcasm. Because nothing screams patriotism like doubting a congresswoman's assault.
Trump said it wouldn't surprise him if it was an inside job, but so far there's no evidence of that. But the FBI is investigating, and they'll find out exactly what happened.
FBI on it, no hoax evidence. Fox downplays the risk like, thank God it wasn't chemical, but hey, vinegar burns too, and it could have been acid or gasoline. FBI on it, no hoax evidence. Fox downplays the risk like, thank God it wasn't chemical, but hey, vinegar burns too, and it could have been acid or gasoline. But because it's someone who openly criticizes Trump in public and who is a Democrat, she must be faking it. I mean, that is what criminals do, right? And since the FBI is full of yes men in this admin, doubt much will come of it.
But if you want to talk about crazy, former Governor Jesse the Body Ventura, no relation, is calling on Minnesota to secede from the union.
How about since Trump dislikes Minnesota so bad and we're so out of control, let's join Canada. Instead of Canada becoming the 51st state of America and lose their health care, like they said, I'd like to see Minnesota, all of us become Canadians. It's obvious Donald Trump don't want us.
We love Minnesota. It's like one of the most beautiful states in the union. We just don't like it when they steal $8 billion.
Ventura's secession quip, Fox ties it to hating fraud. Overblown.
And harbor foreign child molesters. Wisconsin's not doing that. Michigan's not doing that. What kind of state riots to keep killers and fraudsters on their streets?
Riots to keep killers? Protests seek justice, not harbor criminals. This narrative's dangerously skewed, and according to studies where stats matter and not lies to cover up someone's real agenda, the majority of sexual abuse and molesters are native-born statesmen and happen to be white, and that the percent of violent criminals is much less in the illegal immigrants than it is for red-blooded statesmen. I can't say Americans, cause everyone in North and South America are Americans. Don't sue me for saying that. Trump, I know your whole lie was built on making America great again.
Other Democrats are jealous that tampon's getting all of this resistance press, so now they're all using the N-word.
This is a small bunch of wannabe Nazis. That's what they are. In a country of 350 million, we outnumber them. If we have to hunt you down the way they hunted down Nazis for decades.
Dems dropping Nazi? Fox clutches pearls, ignoring the context of ICE's aggressive tactics.
We will find your identities. We will find you. We will achieve justice.
That was Uncle Larry Krasner, Philly DA. The streets love Uncle Larry because he keeps the jails empty. The only person they want in jail in this country is Trump and Miller.
Stephen Miller, like a man named Ben Detson, he was the one who created the internment camps for Japanese. Heinrich Himmler in the Nazi regime. This is what he is.
Miller as Himmler, over the top, but his policies draw fire for a reason. Fox defends while vilifying critics.
People like Stephen Miller will go down in history as evil, had blood on his hands, and should be jailed at the very end of this.
You weren't allowed to call COVID the China virus, remember? But you can go out and call the White House Deputy Chief of Staff a Nazi, and the guy's Jewish?
Banned China virus, but Nazi labels fly? Selective outrage that's maddening.
Now the Democrats are back to talking about lynchings. Listen. And the most unpopular mayor in the country with the most homicides in the nation just joined the party.
As it relates to Gregory Bavino, we've seen examples of other forms of tyranny that have led to concentration camps and the annihilation or the attempt annihilation of people groups.
Okay. The Holocaust Museum just spanked Walz for comparing illegals to Anne Frank. If you guys are watching, that was the mayor of Chicago.
Chicago mayor on tyranny leading to camps? Fox scoffs, but historical parallels aren't laughable.
Little bit of a stretch. Democrats, they say, nope, they're not going far enough.
I don't think that the comparisons with Nazi Germany are extreme, because that's what happened too. That's why ordinary German citizens began to accept the idea that certain members of their community would be singled out. I mean, they have ICE tip lines.
Nazi comparisons debated, but ICE tip lines echo surveillance fears. Chilling.
Would be directly targeted in violation of the laws of the land, and it would be done as by agents of the state.
ICE tip lines? Walz had COVID snitch lines.
Snitch lines, Walz had COVID ones, pot, kettle, one meant to save lives, the other to destroy them. Yeah, exactly the same.
And can you believe illegals are the new Jews? Democrats are setting it up so when they take power, they're going to hold Nuremberg-style trials and try to hang and incarcerate Miller, Noem, Bavino, ICE agents just for deporting illegals. You don't believe me? Watch.
Nuremberg talk extreme, but calls for accountability after killings make sense. It is about convicting the killers and lawbreakers, maybe fire the rest for being yes men/women.
I think there should be something equivalent to the Nuremberg trials after this is all over.
I agree.
And to make it clear that once we're back in power, which we will be, this is going to happen. And the statute of limitations on murder is?
0.
Never.
Yeah, no.
However, it's the boring that moves the needle.
Democrats want to put you on trial for enforcing the law. Well, you know who might have to take a stand first? Barack Obama.
My job in the executive branch is supposed to be to carry out the laws that are passed. If we start broadening that, then essentially I would be ignoring the law in a way that I think would be very difficult to defend legally. So that's not an option.
Obama deported millions without riots, valid point, but today's context amps the outrage. Also, it is important to note he did it without breaking laws, and he was criticized by plenty while in office.
But Barack's about as two-faced as tampon. Here's what the former president just uttered from an undisclosed location. Quote, "It's important to understand the broader implications of what this administration is doing and the threat it poses to the basic freedoms of every American." Barack Hussein deported 3 million illegals. Liberals never rioted, fought ICE, called him a Nazi. Obama gave Homan a medal for deporting so many migrants.
Obama gave Homan a medal. Now Trump's the villain for the same. Power play exposed. It is more about the way the job was executed. Before and now, big difference.
But when Trump and Homan do it, they want to put him on trial. This is about power, and it's already slipping away. New York and California are already projected to lose 6 seats after the next census. With mass deportations, it'll reduce their numbers even further. They need to keep the population up to get more federal cash and more congressional seats. Democrats are calling for bills to prohibit ICE from going near the voting booths.
Bills barring ICE from polls? Voter intimidation worries are real. I'm all for making sure votes are cast and counted correctly, but with the illegal and very intimidating tactics ICE agents use, many legal voters would be reluctant to go to the polls.
The former governor of Washington says Senate Dems need to put into the appropriations bill a prohibition on ICE agents being near polling places. This is a must-have, last chance to do this. Why do they care if ICE is near a polling station? I thought they didn't vote. In the Senate, Majority Leader John Thune, he wants to require photo ID and U.S. citizenship to vote. They're putting that in their next big funding bill next week. This is huge. National photo ID.
Photo ID push could curb fraud, but barriers for many. Fox cheers it as a win. I actually agree with this all except the national ID. Sounds kind of like the current IDs are not enough. Don't think we need another ID, and especially considering this administration would probably call it the Trump ID.
Would stop Democrat shenanigans dead in their tracks. Once you realize illegal immigration is the pillar of the Democratic Party.
Didn't he just say Obama, ex-Democratic president of the United States, did his job and at the time deported a record amount of illegal immigrants? So why would he do this if they were his only voters or the majority of the votes that Democrats receive?
Voting, welfare, fraud, congressional districts. You realize why they're fighting to the death in the streets. If they don't like what Trump is doing, well, win an election.
Win an election if you hate it. Ironic from the guy who contested his loss.
That's what Trump did.
Donald Trump is doing what the people elected him to do. Get rid of the illegal immigration.
What an absolute masterclass in propaganda from Fox, enraging how they twist tragedies to shield power. It leaves a sour taste, like dark comedy where the joke's on democracy. Join the conversation. What side are you on? Left, right, indifferent. Sound off below. Subscribe for more unfiltered takes that cut through the BS.